Why do hardworking employees get ignored? Why do politics decide your worth? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Bad Influencer. Hit subscribe.
Your average handle time is too high, and your quality score needs improvement. If you work in customer support, you likely hear both of these statements in the very same week. For the people working on the phones, these figures represent a constant, daily friction between two different ways of working. One side demands speed, the other demands perfection. It is the central conflict of the contact center industry. Operations teams need you to handle as many calls as physically possible, while quality assurance teams require every single interaction to be compliant, empathetic, and accurately documented. What actually happens to the employees, the customers, and a company's bottom line when a business demands perfect human empathy, delivered in record time? Customer support involves variables a manufacturing line never faces. Every caller has a unique problem, and trying to force these highly human interactions into an identical, timed box creates a structural conflict that remains unresolved at the end of every shift. From the operations perspective, production metrics like average handle time and agent utilization are necessary tools. They control operational costs and ensure the business remains profitable. Meanwhile, the quality assurance department evaluates an entirely different set of criteria. They look for strict regulatory compliance, active listening, and accurate documentation to maintain customer trust. Both are valid business objectives at the executive level, but they inevitably collide on the contact center floor, where customer interactions are unpredictable and rarely fit into a neat 2-minute box. This forces the employee into a daily dilemma. If they spend extra time carefully walking a confused customer through a complicated issue, they exceed their handle time target. If they rush to meet that time target, they skip mandatory compliance steps. When an agent spends all day rushing through complex problems to hit a timer, while simultaneously fearing a quality penalty for every word they miss, the job becomes a game of survival. They start skipping the small talk. They hesitate before picking up a difficult-looking call, and eventually, the exhaustion of never being able to win leads them to disengage entirely. Enforcing these contradictory targets effectively forces the workforce to choose which department is going to penalize them on any given day, destroying workplace morale. Let's test these two different approaches against a real-world scenario. A customer calling in with a complicated billing issue involving multiple accounts. First, we have the slow but complete approach. An employee spends 16 minutes carefully investigating the problem, coordinating the fix, and documenting the account. First call resolution is achieved, but the employee exceeds their handle time target. Now consider the fast but flawed approach. A different employee closes a similar case in just 6 minutes. They pass their productivity target, but to do it, they skip mandatory documentation steps. Because the documentation is incomplete, the issue isn't actually fixed. That confused customer has to call right back the very next day, forcing a new agent to start the entire process over from scratch. On the daily operations report, that initial 6-minute call initially appears to be the more efficient choice. In reality, it actively damages the company's long-term performance. Extreme production pressure creates a host of hidden systemic costs. Repeat contact rates soar, compliance failures trigger penalties, and customer loyalty drops. Trying to squeeze 5 minutes out of a handle time metric today ends up costing the company exponentially more in downstream operational waste and customer churn tomorrow. Organizations can solve this. Quality and production should never operate as competing enemies. They need to complement one another. The ultimate operational irony is that enforcing high quality actually generates high productivity in the long run. Correctly resolved issues simply don't come back to the queue. The first step for leadership is creating shared KPIs. Operations and quality teams must measure organizational success collaboratively rather than operating in isolated silos. The second step is conducting joint calibration sessions. When operations and quality evaluate calls in the same room, they provide employees with a unified, consistent set of expectations. Third, baseline productivity targets have to be adjusted based on the specific complexity of different processes. Applying a blanket handle time metric to every single type of interaction ignores the reality of the work. The focus at the management level needs to move away from policing and toward development. Success happens when leaders stop treating metrics as a list of faults to be punished and start using them as a map for hands-on guidance and support. Finally, organizations need to evaluate holistic, long-term outcomes together. High customer satisfaction, first call resolution, and employee engagement must be measured collectively instead of individually. Sustainable business growth and exceptional customer experiences are never built on speed alone. They are built by aligning your goals and truly empowering the people who deliver the service every single day.